All right, hello and welcome. This is Lucy the Bold. Okay, so since I have multitude of different characters that have different capabilities and stuff, I've had a couple people ask me about taking a look at some of the different building projects they've done. So I decided I would start with this character. Excuse me. Anyways, this is my archer. She's probably, well, all of my characters are my favorite characters. I don't really have one that I would say is more so than another character. She's also full of stuff. Okay. Um, so, oh yeah, I still got to make her backpack. And let's see here. Yep. Okay. All right. So, anyways, what I wanted to do is, uh, after I get my backpack made, and get that outfitted, is I'll show you the builds and their builds. Okay, so now I can get rid of that backpack. Alright, so this is this character's main home. Looks like it's nighttime outside, so I'm just going to grab one of my hirelings' beds and sleep. I don't remember what the daytime nighttime cycle is on this world. Apparently I don't have everything that I need for comfort level in this home because it's only level 93. Let me see. Let me go back to my main menu on this character and see what the daytime nighttime cycle setting is currently. Daytime, oh shoot, daytime's 1 minute. Okay, so we'll turn that off. Done. Play. So most of my characters have a startup home in enshrouded, right where you're supposed to have your cinder vault placed at. Okay, so this is my main crafting area, and then I've been playing around with a few things with this character as far as like the pumpkin and the bathtub, and I'm going to have to fix that because that pumpkin actually was in the bathtub, not on top of the bathtub. All right. And let's do this and rotate its head up just a little bit so it's kind of like sitting in the bath. If you can imagine bath water, it's sitting there, and now it's like, hey, what are you doing? Type of thing. Anyhow, we'll go upstairs here. So this is the first floor. All right, got all my pets and my cats and stuff here, and then my kitchen area. This was my first attempt at doing under the countertop lighting, which I ended up on some of my other projects putting it up behind the chest. So And then, building the countertop and stuff with some of the dishes, which are spatially off now. So I'll have to fix that on this world. And then I have my little sitting area over here. Couple little storage chests. This way, when I have my friends like Thud on or Zygalurtle on, then they can store things in the chest as they want. Of course, this is Crowley. And you already seen the Bard over here. Okay. The Alchemist. And then we have the Huntress here. Alright, and then if we go upstairs, of course, Mi Yin is down here. She's visiting. Her place is upstairs. So we have the master bedroom. And then this house is designed so it's an overlook onto the main floor. And then here's the bathroom. And then initially when I first had to go out and collect all the survivors, I had all of their beds in here. So, this place was jam-packed full. Alright, then a little sitting area up here. I'm going to go upstairs here. Little open balcony. Okay, with the dragon brazier. And then in here is like Pebbles' private study. And then also where I keep all of my collectibles and all of the different outfits. So this has been a work in progress. This is one of the problems when you have multiple characters. You never quite complete everything. Alright, out in front here of the house. Okay, this is what I call my front of my home. And then we have this walkway. We go down here. I have a pier in, and then I made a pond. And then this guy is fishing. And then, of course, he's got a basket there where he can put his fish into. Alright, over here, of course, is the barn. And made little doors for everybody so they can go in and out. And then initially, when I did this, I had the other farmer used to live up here. But I ended up moving him. And over here, I have an extended garden system going up. So, goes all the way over to here. This is the one character that I haven't played with very much recently. And then because of the fact that there was going to be roaming patrols at one point, I decided to wall in my place. So that's this person's main home. Let's see here. I don't have one. Oh, yeah. We'll go over here. So the Blackmire Forest that we're going to, all I have is this up here. And I had flown from up there on top of those mountains over to here. And I set this up because my intention was to do a video on the fact that when I came over here initially, there was wild boars that had spawned up here on these branches because of how big they are. Um, and then I also had wanted to, at some point, build a tree house over here, which I may still do at some point. Okay. And as you can see, I still have a quest with this character that has not been done. We're going to bypass that for a second. We're going to come over here to Lake Luma. This is the first character I built the home inside of the silver mine when I figured out that the shroud moves, because as you can see, this wall is inset, this wall is pushed outward, and it was because I was experiencing problems with the shroud moving through the house. And then this used to be where all of the silver was at, and then I covered that up. And then you come out here, and then this is how I would go to get out of here to go get the silver, whenever I need it. Not sure why my door is open though. So yes, you can build in the shroud in this particular cave, okay, in the Lake Luma area. All right. And then, yes, Desert Oasis home. All right, so this home is unchanged. This particular block right here does not exist with my newest character. So they actually left this in place, as well as that part there, because of the fact that I have a building on it. So I do have videos on these that you guys can go to. If you look up Lucy the Bold, there must be, oh yeah. So I'm missing a block there. Interesting. But I use this as a launching point to get around to a lot of the areas, and then over that way you can actually see my small floating city. I have a small floating city over there. I like this home. Putting the cabinets into an arc like that takes a little bit of precision. It was definitely doable, and I loved the way it turned out. And then, of course, putting the small brazier in and then setting things down on top of it also make a huge impact on making it look like you're actually living here. And then this is what would be the family room, and I call this the mud room because you're coming in from outdoors, so Once again, though, it's sparsely decorated. This is my room. And then I have my master bath, probably one of my larger bathrooms. It's kind of fun going back through some of these places. And then upstairs here, this is where my friends would sleep when they come over. A couple chests here at this place in case if they got overloaded while we were out here in this area. All right, now moving onward. So we're going to start at Sky High Overview, and that's located over the inner sanctum. This is not as high as the one that my spouse built for me, which she was so nice for doing. Maybe it was for our 10th anniversary of being together. But anyways, I like this little place. It's actually cone shaped. I used, once I got to the altitude that I wanted, I used 3 flame shrines to build up a cone shaped like an ice cream cone. You know, so there's plenty of depth to this place. And, you know, then I built the house, and this was my first attempt of building a place that's more like a hobbit home. Let's go inside. And this is why I call it my hobbit home. Okay, this is the bathroom. Which I actually had this place before XYZ came along, so while I am here and you guys are here with me, I am going to fix that sink. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to get it turned first. And then slide it. My apologies. I have very slight tremors in my hands. Okay. Boom. Just like that. Alright, and then that way you can still... And I should take that block out underneath because that'll look better. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better like that. If I pull it forward, then it should make more sense. All right, have it about right there. And just slightly in. Some blocks are better to use for counters than others, especially if you're wanting something to show through. Alright, so this is, again, my room. And then when I have company over to play on my worlds, this is what they would use. Alright, and then down below us is my other city. And I got a block there in the air that you can see. So it doesn't look as big, when you're up high here flying over it. But this is actually a fairly decent size village. I mean, I have enough people here in villages. So we're going to come in for a landing. Alright, this is the barbershop. And I call this Mayor Pebbleton. For lack of knowing what else to call it. This was my first attempt at building a crane. I think it actually turned out pretty good. Yeah. I got a little bit of inspiration from what Thomas plays on the crane, and then I also looked at several of the cranes that are stationed throughout the world, and then devised how I wanted my crane to look. Of course, this is the garden area. There used to be a tree right here that I took out because one of the gnomes got swallowed up with it when it grew to full size. But I have all of the survivors on this city. And then I have the assistants here on this city as well. And every home I've pretty much done a lot of detailing with. It's still got stuff to do. Whoops. Come on in. There you go. And then over here, the reason why I put the gate in is the hirelings cannot operate that gate. They only know how to use doors. So I built a bridge that goes across the gap, okay, and then comes out over here. And I put these trees in, and then that was the last thing I did with it. So unfortunately, I was not aware of how big these trees were going to get. I'm going to have to come back and thin them out a little bit. Can't see where I'm going. Help me. There we go. And then this is the first city that I started setting out gnomes for subscribers. And at this point is when my spouse was building her Sky City and started building the sports arena. And then now we put all of our new people into the sports arenas. So. Okay. And then, yeah. So I know she's got stuff to talk to me about. I'm not going to talk to her right now. But this is her house. And then this is her workstation. I went ahead and put one of Crawley's machines in here, just so I could use it when I'm over here. And then we come over here. This is the hunter, the hunter's assistant. Okay, I have everything that I need for him. And then here is my alternate for the farmer. And he's got a visitor over here. Got corn in the oven. then bedrooms. Then we come up this way. And then this is our carpenter in her home. And then straight across here in the center, we have a nice well with, table and cool, refreshing water. A couple of gnomes hanging out, drinking some water. This is the local bank with all of my storage vaults for over here. And then upstairs, I have, and Hugo is the one that lives here. And I'm not sure what he's doing in here. Alright, we'll go back outside here. This is where you will portal in on this world. And then this is my rose trellis. Initially, I had built the trellis just using the railings. The railings, however, you cannot attach flowers to. So I had to put blocks in and attach the roses to the blocks. And of course, we have our tribute to the Queen, as is customary. Okay. And then my palace. And then we have a big gazebo here. And then right over here is the blacksmith in her home. Okay. And then I did a special edition during fall festival time, which normally occurs, in the fall time of the year, throughout the United States. So I wanted to do a tribute to this. So I have a whole bunch of different vendors set up. And in my video, I took all of my hirelings, all of the survivors, and all of the assistants, and stationed them throughout here to make it look like an active festival. So you have your vegetable vendor, your meats and drinks, person doing baskets. We got a wizard over here selling wizard type books. We have somebody selling grains and foods, pet supplies. Another one selling his paintings. And then we have a knight who is selling safes, storage safes. And over here we have a mage selling potions and concoctions. And then this guy is selling accessories, possibly perfumes, inkwells, salt and pepper shakers, you can name it. And then this person who is sporting the lovely purple package, if you want anything gift wrapped while you're at the festival. And then we have our resident snow person. And then we have somebody selling plants. And then, of course, you have to have your protein vendors, because you're going to get hungry. And we have a mage selling wands and staffs. And then this person over here is selling bows. We need crossbows. We don't have any crossbows in this game, and I think that would be pretty cool looking. And then over here, we have an armorer selling maces and daggers and swords and shields. So, yeah, this was my tribute to harvest time in the United States. Okay, so let's go inside of my palace. Main doors are open. I'm guessing that that is something from the initial update. I'm not sure. Ah, Gabriella. So Gabriella lives here inside of the home with me, as well as Hannah and her mother. But oh, she's the one that opens the doors. Okay. Yep, there's Hannah and her daughter. And then we have grass growing through the floor. Okay, here's my kitchen. And this was done before XYZ. So you can see I actually have plates and bowls underneath that I used to lift and raise things up so the countertops would be equal. Okay, and then we can come back here, and then this would be some of the palace guards hangout. Of course, they have their own bathroom, assortment of weapons to choose from. This goes downstairs, and we have the ability of manufacturing our own metals and tools and equipment. And then this goes outside, and then if you go through these doors here, that's the edge of the property line of how big the flame altar is. And if you go upstairs, this is the back way up to my bedroom. So this is my master bedroom. And then I put the safe door in, my personal vault. And then there's all of my, gold and silver, platinums, you name it. All the valuables are there. And then here's another bathroom that I did. Alright, this place is actually pretty big. This is for when people come to my world. Of course, this room is seriously unfinished, as is most of them here. That goes upstairs, which we'll go up there here in a minute. This is their room, Hannah and her daughter.
Hey.
Hi. And then Mi Yin, when I bring her over here, this is where I assign her to. And then this is Gabriella's room. Central fireplace. Alright, so we go over here. We go upstairs. And then this is going to be the trophy room when I finish it. Alright, so that is this world with this character. So now let me go back and we'll change. And we will get Lucy. And let me edit her world timeline to make sure. Daytime, nighttime. Daytime is 1 hour. Okay, nighttime's. All right, excellent. Okay. Alrighty. This is my mountain villa home. And Lucy is my mage. So this is my basement area. Okay. It's got a bathroom in here. And you can see I used a cup and turned it sideways using XYZ to make toilet paper holder. And then this is one of the shields that you can make. This is storage room over here. Let me shut that door and shut that door. Alright, and then we have the coloring station in here. And then I put a chest in underneath the coloring station because at this time the coloring station does not pull ingredients from the chest, but it's also a good place for me to keep the colors at. Alright, we'll go upstairs. This is my first floor. I took the mosaic and put it up on the ceiling. And was a little creative, put some bellows here by the fireplace because, you know, what's a fireplace without bellows? There's my kitchen. Homemade bar. And we go upstairs here. This is the bedroom. Alright, got two ways to get out of my home. This comes out onto a patio. Right here where I can sit down, stay warm. And then here's my main entrance to my home. And then this doorway was put in using XYZ at a tilt. That is also something that the hirelings cannot open because it's tilted, or at least none of mine have been able to. Alright, if we go up here, Hugo just came out here. Hugo and the collector live together up here in this space. And then we have a soul burning inside of the sarcophagus. That was my Halloween dark humor. The tributary to the Queen, where offerings and tithings are given as you come into the city. And then Gabriella is in here. Yeah, there she is. They're playing. Apparently they're bouncing up and down on the beds. Alright, so let's go out this way. Love the sound of the doors as they go up and down. And then I have my farm. So my bunny rabbits are over here. And then my oxen. And then over here, I have my chickens. And then my armadillos. And then lastly, which somehow they got through the fence. All right. I don't know how they get out all the time. I guess they're just special. Special birds. All right. And then up this way. And then I don't have my goats over here. They're on the other side. But this is totally surrounded by real live size barracks, walls, and goes all the way over to the other side. And then down here, we have a secret exit. One of the reasons why I picked this area is because you can hit the updraft. And there's an updraft on both sides of my fortress. And on the map, so this is my Mountain Villa home. This is Bellfire Garrison Silkfrost. I also have a Knight Sanctum right here beside me. And then I have Bellfire Garrison Rimrock. So we can come through here. And then this is a secret entrance and exit. And hot tar to be poured over anybody coming through the doors. How did that bird get up here? That's crazy. Oh well. If he falls off, he falls off. Another fortification area. Excellent. I understand from my moderator I have 4 people watching, so thank you very much. And then this is one of my prize builds. I love this build. It took a long time, a lot of thinking to do it. Because this was not here. But I built this water wheel. And I do have a video on how to build a full-size water wheel in case if you're interested. Now you can see. And then you come inside and I have all my grains and stuff, and then down here is the mechanical portion. So that leads outside to the mill, and then you would put your grains in here and push this lever here, and then that would turn the mechanism on, and it would grind your grains into flour or sugar or whatever it is that you were using it for. Okay, then we come out this way, and you can see this is how it's powered. Whoops. Water comes out of the mountain, comes over here, and falls down onto that. And then we have an archery area, training grounds. This was all here initially. And then there was a skeletal person over here, and I just covered him up with the flowers. This is another hireling's home. And then my gardens. And then this is the barber shop, which I have to go get more of the wigs because there are actually 4 wigs. Initially, we thought that there was only 3. And then my farmer lives up here. And I have this nice little place here for the hunter.
Hello.
And then outside here, this is where my goats are at. I don't know if I have food or not, but they need food. There we go. These guys have food. Okay. Oh, come on. Any other time I could jump up there. There we go. And then I put the dragon's flame shrine up here with the oil, so you can feel the fire. This town is a little bit different. All my homes actually have fireplaces, and at nighttime you can see, like, if you're, let me use my bow, you can see, the smoke coming up out of several of these homes. But yeah, I really like this place. This took a couple months of playtime for me to get it built to the way I wanted it. Carving it out. And then each set of the gates has the stone soldiers. So I am well fortified. I don't think anybody's going to be busting down my door. Ooh, what do we got over here in the basket? Ah, sugar cane and tomatoes were picked recently. Alright, so that is this place. Okay, and then coal deposit, silver mine. I don't know that I have a house. I don't remember if I have a house built in the silver mine area for this character. I may not. No, I do not. Yeah, not yet, I don't. Okay. That'll be an upcoming video. Yes, and this is this way to collect stuff because you can get the Kala Luna flowers here, and then if you just go over here, where the mountains are at, you can get the ones that grow in the Albany summits, and you don't have to worry about eating foods because you're not taking frost damage. And then if you go up into the hillside a little bit, you'll find coal and amethyst and stuff like that. So it's a great place. They have a little jump off point. Uh, Jump point to Surratt's Cinder Vault. All right, and then I built this. Um, this was actually kind of a fun build. So there's a bedroom here, bathroom, and I have a reason for my build here. Okay, this is my kitchen. I'm still not done working on it yet. And then this doorway goes into my own personal flint mine. And this is about where the flame shrine stops. So all that flint there reforms. And then this goes outside. I have my own personal deck. You can see all that nice flint there. And then I come up here to get all of the midnight lilies. And then this deck actually wraps all the way around on 3 sides of the home. Like so. And then I'm still missing some railings here. Alright, so that is it for this character. This is all of the homes that this character has. So let's bring in my next one. Okay. So we're going to bring in Ravenblade. Gotta make sure Ravenblade's world is set up daytime, nighttime. All right, and we are coming up on the top of the hour. And what I say is, been recording for 55 minutes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute break and then come back, and then we'll go through an actual tree house that was built inside of the tree.